Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Hey kids! It's time to have fun! Ready, set, go!
What the fuck did that say? This is so good. By the way, God bless whoever edited this video. That was the perfect ending to it. I'll be honest with you.
Hello and welcome. First things first, I want to just state right now, I am extremely tired. I've been up since 5 a.m. and it's 8 p.m. here. So if I don't sound too chipper, that is probably why. Now, this stream, I'm going to try to keep as organized as possible. There's a couple things I want to try to achieve with this stream. I've done plenty of these streams before, showcasing how to use RVC. I'm going to try to go through step by step, just kind of describing how to use the program for people who's having issues using it. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to kind of sort this out. After one of my last covers from Nick, it's kind of got a little bit popular with the Kiwi forums, and actually some of the people that does the Josh course stuff on Kiwi forums. So I figured I'd do this for a lot of people who's I've seen a lot of comments on the forums too about people trying to use RVC and they keep having issues like it doesn't work correctly, or it errors out, or they can't get good results, or it's just hard to use. So I want to try to at least get people a good head start on how to be able to use this. So first things first, I want to kind of make a couple disclaimers. First disclaimer is, yes, I use Elven Labs for AI voices. I've done it primarily for Metokur. For anyone who comes asking me to do stuff, I've got some rules in place for me doing stuff. One, I'm not going to do this for everyone or for any voice. The Elven Lab stuff of making Jim just say stuff, I'm just relegating to Jim. I'm not gonna make Ralph say anything. I'm not gonna make Nick say anything or Kina Poll. I'm not gonna do anything like that. So anyone who wants to ask, I'm not gonna do that. Two, when it comes to the song covers, I will do song covers for the fun of it. If I feel like that I can make a cover that sounds good, that matches to something that they have done. Like, for example, Nick getting catfished by Mandy. I thought it was appropriate to have him do an AI cover of Mandy. That's how that one came into being. Same thing with Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph, infamously wanking it on stream, getting spotlighted by Metokur and a couple other people showcasing that. What better song to put behind that but have Ethan Ralph sing Touch Myself? So I will make song covers if it makes sense. Kina Poll was kind of a request by a couple of people. And Rhythm in the Night is actually a song that Kina Poll likes. So it made sense to do that one. So for anyone that's going to come up to me and go, hey, we want you to have Dick Masterson saying I love little girls or anything like that, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do anything off the wall. I'm not going to do anything that's way off the mark. I'm just going to stick to normal covers. And if they make sense. So that disclaimer out of the way. I do have a couple questions I'm going to answer. And first of all, I've got a couple people in chat. First one is Director Arcuter. What is up? Let me go ahead and get my comment board up. Director Arcuter, I was just interested in learning how to sing covers without singing myself. Hopefully I can get you started on this. I know I told you for a while I was going to showcase how to do some of this stuff. Hopefully I can get you started in this. We have... I'm sorry, I'm just gonna call you Dev. I'm not gonna attempt to try to say that. Hey Sparky, I'm curious as to how to create AI covers. I'd be interested in making AI covers of Log Cow singing songs. By all means, if you can figure out with my showing you guys how to do that, hopefully you guys can do that. That's where Maddox got Dick pretty good in his video receipts. Yep. It's cool. And CNJ Dev. Okay, well, I'm just going to call you Dev. That's just easier on me. But anyways, I got a couple questions. So the first one is, and this will be a perfect segue into kind of describing how RVC works and the limitations of it. So let me go ahead and get to my community board on YouTube. And I've been posting some of the interactions I've seen on Kiwi forums. I don't have a Kiwi forums account. I watch the forums, but I don't have an account. So I can't get on there and respond. And trust me, I've seen people like praise the work, have questions about some of the stuff I've done, wanting requests, or I want to see this, or I want to see. I've been seeing all of that on multiple threads. So, yeah, I think this one will work. Let's go ahead and present this. And blah, 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 blah. And yes, I want to showcase audio also. So the first one I've got, and this is in response to a comment to Todd. I'm glad it was made, and I know how hard it would have been to do this, but a piece of me was hoping it would be the original. When the idea was originally brought up, I was laughing, thinking of Juju, Drex, and Ralph joining in as the chorus. Now, when I first originally started doing this on, I was starting with the original. Here are some of the limitations that RVC and most programs have. Whenever in, let's go ahead and remove that for the moment. Let me go ahead and bring up have all these files scattered on my computer. Just give me a moment to get this brought up. Okay, here we go. So, when it comes to it, the AI or RVC has limitations of what it can do. So, the basic principles of making an AI cover kind of comes down to once you have the voice trained, and that's something in itself. I'll go through the steps on or showcasing how to do it. I'm not going to train a voice because that takes an extremely amount of long time. It also takes a lot of GPU power to generate the voice. But this, I will go through the steps on how you would do that. But assuming once you got the voice made, the essential steps is picking a song. Once you have that song picked, you've got to separate out the vocals from the music. So that's where RVC comes in. And if you look down in the descriptions, I've got all the programs I use basically for everything I do. And I don't use a lot of programs. A lot of them are free. So the main one's RVC. The other one is vocal remover. Sometimes there's some songs that vocal remover does a lot better job than what RVC can do. RVC is just kind of an all-in-one program. Ultimate Voice Remover is a program I've used before. I don't have it on this installation on my computer. I had it on the last one. I have not installed it yet. In a video editing program, Wondershare Filmora. I also use Audacity to record audio. It's a lot faster to record audio that way. But once you find the song you want to record, you'll use one of these programs to separate out the vocals from the music. Afterwards, you gotta do some cleaning. You gotta remove some background noise, some echo, some reverb that's left in it, because that will distort the AI being laid on top of it. Once you get that done, pick the voice of your training if you got multiple voices, or if you just got one. Pick the voice, overlay it onto the vocals, and then put the song back together. Essentially, that is the easiest way to put it down step by step. But each one of those steps has a process to it. Now, to the Snell's comment wanting to use the original, let me go ahead and just play a little bit of what the original sounds like. And if you're listening, let me know if you can actually listen to music. Sometimes StreamYards has an issue with wanting to project a lot of the desktop audio. So let me know if you can't hear it. Yeah, the song. All right. This is the original version. Now, this song is about 7 minutes long. But I'm going to showcase some problems with this song and why I can't use it. So, the first problem is an easy one to get past. It's a female singer. you can bump the octave down of the voice you got put on it if it's a male singer to match the octave to put onto the actual song. That's not an issue unless it's extremely high and then the AI has issues with it. The second issue is, let me get to the point in the song what this has got to be. Very high octaves, RVC, or any of the, RVC cannot overlay on top of it. It just has an issue with it. Multiple voices. When you have multiple voices in the song, especially like 2 or 3 female singers, the AI cannot separate out those songs. As a lot of people think, and let me give you a showcase of this. Same issue I had whenever I was doing the Rama Rama cringe Rama Rama version of Jim covering this. A lot of people think that whenever you put these songs into these programs like RVC, anything like that, it's going to separate out everything. It can't. It can only separate out what it can translate into, because AI looks at it and goes, okay, this is a voice and this is the song. And it separates out as best it can. It still leaves tidbits and residues of voices in the song and song and the voices. It cannot fully separate it out. And whenever you get multiple voices within that song, within the voice part, it can't translate that. It cannot separate out each individual voice. Sometimes it can, but even if it does, it's going to be highly degraded, and that the AI cannot cover over it. So that is an example of what the actual song is. Let me give you an example of the vocals once I separated out what it sounds like. So I'm going to go, that was 340 in that song when I started. I was on the same spot with just the vocals. This is what it sounds like. Let's see, 340.
Returns to nothing. It just keeps tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. It all returns to nothing.
So, as you can tell, it separated out the voices. It got the other voices compared into it. It's treating it as like reverb or echo. It's also got bits and pieces of the music in it. So this is one of the main issues a lot of people has, especially when trying to do AI covers. Let me go ahead and showcase what it sounds like with an actual voice on it. Director says, much shutdown will surely be reviewing. Well, thank you for stopping by, Arcader. All right. This is what it sounds like whenever I put Nick's voice on it. So we're going to go back to 340 and the AI covering of that. It
just keeps tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. voices. I just keep letting me down, letting me down, letting me down.
Now, that's what me doing a negative 12 octave on putting the AI voice onto the vocals. But this is the issue that happens when you're doing these translations. Sounds like a typical Nick stream to me. Well, I mean, sometimes if that's the effect you're going for, it will work for you. But if you're actually trying to get as close to the song as you can, this is one of the issues that kind of happens. So for the snail on Kiwi Forms on the Nick page, this is the reason why I could not use the original. Now, I've had some interesting suggestions thrown out. One of them is like using one of the other AIs to actually sing that, because there is a program I have not used it yet. I need to get into probably figure out how to use it. But you can actually give it prompts to actually sing a song, and it could sing its own song. I might look into that, see if that's a possibility to do. Actually, that's in the comment right here. There's an unconventional solution in that you could pirate synth, have it seen the overlapping parts, or you parts for you and convert those snippets with RVC. That is a possibility. The other possibility is to find a karaoke version that somebody's sung and see if you can't split it with only a single singer. Or you can try to use the version I used, speed it up or slow it down. I think you gotta have to speed it up and then match it up to the original. You can do that. That's what I actually did with A Whole New World with Jim and Pippa. That's actually a snippet of about 5 different songs that took a long time to do just because of this issue. It cannot separate out duets. So if you have a female voice and a male voice singing, it cannot separate those out. And if it does separate out one of the voices, it's going to be so degraded the AI cannot put a voice on it. Sometimes you can get away with masking it. Sometimes you can get away without having the voice in. So sometimes doing a duet part, you can just remove the singer and not put them in. You can just use one part and put the male and the female voice on it, but then what you get is tonal harmonics, and it sounds really horrid. That's where you start getting like the Darth Vader sounding or Bill Cipher sounding sounds, because they're the same audio with just 2 different octaves on it. So sometimes you have to fast forward one or move it off key a little bit to make it sound better. So those are some things that you can do. All right, let me look at some of the comics here. The best way would be to pay someone on Fiverr to see it, but of course that costs money. Yes, that does. And then you also, that's a little, see, that's something too. You got to make sure that the person sending it is okay with them. I mean, there's many different ways you can do, but yes, it costs money. For me, I try to do this as cheap as possible, as free as possible, because I don't get paid doing this. So this is a hobby for me. A Whole New World came out great. I thought so. It did too. Actually, you can find forums for A Whole New World, because I brought it out on a stream as a joke. And then somebody went on forums and bragged about it and got all hyped up about it in the VTuber thread. And it's like, well, shit, now I got to do it. And then afterwards, Jim saw it and commented on it. And then Pippa saw it and reacted to it. And then shit blew up. And it's like, well, fuck. But anyways, that's one of the main issues is multiple voices on a song. The best songs are going to be songs that you can clearly hear the voice. There's not a lot of echo. There's not a lot of distortion. Single singers and the music doesn't overpower the scene. Those are the best ones to do. So you cannot just go out and do any song willy-nilly. So for people who might think, oh, it's got to be cool to have this AI sing this song, you got to think about it a little bit on your plan of attack. You just can't do every song because sometimes AI just cannot separate out the voices. Like with the intro for this stream, I used Camilla Jim Dancing, the remix that Jade made for MisterMetokur's opening. Here's an example of that one. I wanted to strip out Jim's vocals in that to put on my Pippa Camilla Dancing cover. It can't. It thinks Jim's voice is part of the music. So it will not separate out his voice from the music. So that's another issue. So AI is great and all, but there is limitations, and you got to learn what you can and cannot do with it. So that's one question. I figured this would be a good way of starting this off, is just answering this question. Why did I use the original? Well, I can't use the original song. There's ways around it. You can do it, but there's a lot of what that goes into that. It's just not putting the thing, spit it out, put it back together. All right. And we got Rogue in chat. What's up, Rogue? So, first things first on RVC. Once you get RVC downloaded, it is a GitHub program. You gotta go on to GitHub, download it, unzip it, install it. There is a install document with it. Usually everyone can get to it. Everyone can download it. It's easy enough for people to do. Honestly, I'm grateful that there are limitations to AI. These are potential dangers of trying to produce clips of people saying incriminating things. That is correct, but the problem is AI is getting better. So there's actually songs today with RVC that I can do that whenever it was on like Gen 1 or Gen 2 of RVC, it couldn't do back then. And it's actually covering a lot better now. Whenever I first trained Jim's voice, I can get his voice to do a lot more things now than when the program first came out. So it's getting better, and it's going to continue getting better. So it's up to everyone to have their own due diligence in trying to figure out if this is real or not. This is why I'm really careful whenever I do like having this is one of the reasons why I say I'm not going to make anyone say anything that they wouldn't, especially like with Evan Labs. That's one of the reasons why I put that out there. And that's also the reason why I'm real careful with some of the songs I make of people. I push the boundary on some of them. But I try to remain within my comfort zone. But anyways, once you get RVC downloaded, you'll go through and you'll want to train a voice. Now, remember, I'm not going to actually train a voice. I'm just going to walk you through the steps of what you need to do in order to do it. So first thing to do is to name the voice. So it's pre-set up with me test. I can't wait to see the roll bump because of AI. I downloaded all the Pippa models to have them before the tech is regulated. Yes. Like with this is in a web browser, but this program is standalone. Nobody, even if the GitHub repository goes down for this, it's never getting removed off my computer. It's here to stay. So even if it gets got, I still have it. Are you using NVIDIA or AMD? I'm using a GTX 1080, 11 gigabyte. A 1080 Ti is what I'm using. It's 11 megabyte card. That's going to be real important too on how you set up to train. Well, the world is running. Yes, the world is running. So that's going to be real important whenever you go through and do this. Now, there is there is a portion within this called collab that if you don't have a computer that is up to snuff to be able to do this, it will do it online. It is limited what you can do, and it's a little bit more of a different setup. I don't know how to use that. Jared Journeys has some really good how-to guides on his YouTube channel. And if you're wanting to, if you don't have hardware up to snuff to use it, I would go through and look. I'm not gonna look for the exact tutorial, but he does a lot of stuff with coding, a lot of stuff with AI voice, a lot of stuff with everything. Go give him a shout out. It's his videos I watch to kind of get me to the point of being able to do this, and then everything else is just learn by doing. But anyways, as you're going through here, if you want, when you want to train your voice, let's just say, actually, let's just go through here and just say Noel. You're gonna, I'm gonna train Noel's voice. So I'm gonna have to have some good clips of Noel, and I'm gonna have to have a folder set up on my computer. So, like within RVC, I go into RVC. We go into voices. These are all the voices I've got right now. I've got a couple MisterMetukurs. I've got Ethan Ralph. I've got a folder of all of Jim's laughs. Kinopole, Metokur, and a couple different Metokur voices I was messing around with to see what I could do with them. Nick, the original Jim voice I originally trained on RVC and stuff like that. So you will have a folder set up somewhere. The voice folder and the song folder is not set up in RVC. You can just add it in. It's not gonna mess with the folder, and this is just why I keep it so I know where it's at. Got to get going to review Vader later. Thanks for sharing information on this process. Yes, you're welcome. And thank you for stopping by. All right, so you'll want to have clips of voices. Now, the key for voices, vocal only. If it's got background music, remove it. If it has any kind of sounds like, stuff tapping around, drinking, eating, laughing, anything like that, remove it. You got to pre-edit those clips. You got to move all the static out of it. You got to have just a good, clean voice. And I'll tell you right now, it doesn't take a lot. This is basically what I use for Ethan Ralph. So I used 3 clips.
My car note was over $600 until the asshole at the dealership. And I was like, yeah, but I can just get rid of it if I need to. Turns out it doesn't. I was going to keep it because it has coverage in Mexico. Don't do that. For a multitude of reasons. Not immediately.
Yeah, that's clip 1. And then clip 2 is this one.
Let's just do it next Tuesday. Because it'll just be a better show. I'll be more laid back. You won't be able to fuck with me as much. He'll still fuck with me. Blame it on me somehow. But I mean, it is my fault, I guess, for not knowing that Mexico.
So for anyone who's listened to the Touch Myself cover of Ethan Ralph, his voice was trained on 300 epochs, which is how many training cycles that voice has went through on just these 2 clips. I have other clips in here, longer clips. I have not trained the voice on that. So I've got one 50-second clip and one 30-second clip. That's all. That's all I use to train his voice on, the 300 epochs. The huffing doesn't mess with it. The huffing can sometimes. The beforehand on Gen 1, it really messed with it, like breathing and stuff like that. But with this generation of RVC, it actually helps it because it gives it that, because the AI will simulate breathing. Let me go ahead and model inferences. Like right here, protect voiceless consonants and breath sounds to prevent artifacting, such as tearing electronic music and a couple other things. The AI will actually put breaths in, so it can help with it. You just want, I mean, you don't want like with Jim. If I have a clip of Jim and all of a sudden he just busts out in laughter, I want to remove that. But him huffing and breathing, like if he kind of struggles to talk, anything like that, you want that because it will influence how the AI transposes his voice onto the song, makes it more realistic. So, let's see here. I thought you needed hours of content to train. Cool. Wow. No, you don't. Before don't get me wrong. The more clips and Rogue's in chat, Flickerbox TV. Rogue is the one that does a lot of the Elvin Labs scripting for AI MisterMetokur on the AI MisterMetokur channel. You can ask him, and he'll agree with me in chat. You can use a multitude of clips. You're going to get a different result with each clip you put in or you take out. It's going to change the voice in some way, shape, or form. Rogue has probably got hours and fucking around with Elvin Labs trying to get the AI MisterMetokur to sound the way it does with Elvin Labs. So, and the same thing is true with RVC. Now, I could probably put more clips of Ralph in and might make it sound a lot better. It also might make it sound a lot worse. This is where the trial and error comes in. It's not all set. Sometimes you'll put clips in and you'll have to redo it. Like, for instance, Kinapol. I used a 24-minute long clip for Kinapol.
Let's tell the truth. Brian Dunn was contacted by a tranny named Maddie Cat, was her username, who is dating a guy named Dr.
Now, if you listen, you'll hear the static. You'll hear like traffic noises because he's on his phone and he's in a truck and he's ranting on his phone. That actually translated into the song. So if you listen to the Kinapol cover, you can hear that. I was luckily able to clean it up. I'm not retrained his voice since then. I need to. Basically get all the background noise and everything out of it was just his bass voice. If I actually got some clips of him with an actual studio microphone, stuff like that, it probably sound a lot better and not just him on the phone. But this is the reason why Metokur sounds like he is on his shitty microphone with the covers I do. Because it captures that. It captures that shitty microphone quality into the actual music. In fact, there's a funny clip of Pippa reacting to the Whole New World song. She even says, "Oh my God, it's even got a shitty microphone." Yes, because the program translates that into the AI voice. See. And if the program changes, so the voices, yes, we ran into that issue with Elvin Labs. Unfortunately, AI Metokur's down a little bit. Elvin Labs updated the program and it's whacked everything out. And Rogue's been trying to figure that out. That's the reason why there's a lot of clips coming out on that channel and not just AI MisterMetokur content. It makes it more authentic. He only streams from his truck. Well, there you go. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to go for, and even the year makes a difference because you can put in voices from Jim 81 Jim back when he first started streaming and doing videos, and it's got to sound a lot different than what he sounds like now. Throughout the eras, everything changes, so you kind of got to pick and choose what you want to use, and even sometimes you can go, I want the best of both worlds. I want everything. I want how he sounds when he was Jim 81 Jim. I want how he sounds as an aristocrat, how he sounds during with MisterMetokur, how he sounds like now, Cancerman voice and stuff like that. And when you compile it all, it won't sound like him. So you kind of got to pick from one source. You can't just throw them all in there. That's the best part of the Metokur covers. Yes, yes, it is. But anyways, it kind of goes for what you're going for. So if you have a person that you want to make your AI cover of, so like Null, I'd pick a voice or I'll pick a stream with Null in it where you like how his voice sounds, and I'd probably take a good portion of it. Like I said, you can retrain if needed, or you can scrap it and just try it again. For me, training takes about 7 to 8 hours for 300 epochs for the amount of voice clips I give it. So it's just time at that end and computing power. So if you got the time and you got the computing power, experiment. Yeah, try several clips. Try one clip. You can try 1 minute. You can try 10 minutes. It just depends on how you want this to sound. So, so let's say I watch Mad in it, and he does a 10-minute rant where I like the tone of his voice. I like how it sounds. It comes up. You listen to it. It's at this, like, say, it's that distinct null sound, that schism in his voice as he's talking about the locales and just going into it, and what people like whenever they watch Mad and the internet. Find parts of the stream where he does that. Cut it out. Put it into an MP3 format. Clean up the background noises. If he laughs here or there, kind of cut those out. If there's a lot of pauses, cut the pauses out. Put it in a folder. Mark it what it is. And then you'll go into here into train. So you'll name the voice. Let's see, I have a 39 all the power for AI Schwartz workstation grade. Cool. Use the power. Anyways, how the settings I use on my end, and I said I'm not gonna be able to explain what every one of these settings do. I'm just gonna showcase what works for me. So input your name. You want sampling at 4800. You want scening option true because you want the model to scene. Always pick version 2. Number of CPU threads. I try to be a little conservative because I do want to try to do some other stuff on the computer while it's working, so I don't want to max the computer. So I usually set that like a 10. This here is the path for your folder. So, for example, let's just say this file folder was the null folder. This is the folder that I dedicated for Null's voice, for Josh's voice. You'll want to go up here, copy this address, the folder address. Now, this is another thing that a lot of people get messed up. Some processes of this, you need the folder address. Some process of this, you need the actual file address, which will be the file name along at the end of the actual address. So some processes of this, you need the file address with all the files in it, and then the other one, the actual file. This is the actual file. This is the file folder address. So that's easy enough. You just come up here, copy it, go down to this one, and you put the folder in. That gives us its destination of where the voice is going to go. This here, you don't have to do anything with it. Afterwards, you just hit process data, and it'll go through a process, and it has a command window screen that gives you statuses of how it's walking and what it's doing. And it's going to take a minute for it to go through and do everything on it. But once it's done, it'll give you a prompt on the bottom. It's done. You can move on. And once it gives you that, you go down to your next one. This only affects if you have multiple GPUs. This is primarily made for NVIDIA graphics cards. I know they put in support for AMD. It's very important that when you go into the GitHub, you know which graphics card you have to pick the right version of this program to be able to use it correctly. So like I said, got GTX 1080 Ti. See right here, process end. All right, so you don't have to worry about this if you have multiple cards. Setting here, I always use the RMVPE GPU. This is a setting that came out with the latest revision. This is the best 1x4 to use. All these other ones give you very, very differing results. You can mess with it if you want. I always use this one. It's always done really good work. And then go through and you extract the file. Same thing. It will go through and process everything for the GPU to go to work. And it'll give you a prompt when it's done. Once it's done, then it comes down to the bottom here. So this one's really important because this will make, if you get these settings down here wrong, it won't train. Or it will, it'll just take a extremely long time for it to train. So save frequencies, you can set these all the way to 50. The only time you want them like close together if you have programming, if you have the program to be able to look at the actual data for training to figure out what point you want to set the voice at, because there's a point that you can overtrain the voice and it does nothing. It actually can make the voice sound worse. I usually just go for 3 to 400 epochs. That usually is enough to walk. If you feel like the voice could sound better, you could train a little bit longer. You could train it all the way up to 1,000. 1,000 is like the cap on it. I haven't trained a voice past 1,000, so I don't know what that would do. But like I said, I usually stop around 300 or 400. Works really well for me. So on this one, the save frequencies to save space, set all the way up to 50. Now, this one here will dictate how many training sessions it does, because this is actually, it's actually forcing the voice or the audio files of the person that you've recorded. It forces it to go through different pitches, hums, chirps, sounds. It goes through a processes of actually training that voice in different octaves to sing. And that's what the epoch is. If you ever went into learning AIs, generations, that's what this is. That's what the term epoch is the generation for that AI. So like on racing games, the first generation is really dumb and it goes in a straight line. But by the time it gets like generation 200 or 300, it can actually make turns and twists around the track and, actually kind of do something. It's still kind of bad. And by the time it gets like generation, 800 and 900, it can actually complete the track. That's what the epoch is. But we're not training it to play a game. We're just training it to sing. And it's got a baseline it already trains itself up to. So, like I said, I usually set this to 300. 400 is a good place too. Just whatever you want to do. And again, you can go back into this. Just give it all the same, give it the same name, the same file folder once it's done training, and it will pick back up where it left off to retrain if you want to retrain later on. This one here is really important. Batch size. This will make and break on how you do this. And if you get this wrong and you start training, it will lock your computer up or it'll just freeze the program. You guys completely exit out of the program and reset everything, set everything back up, and go through and retrain. Rule of thumb that what I've seen. My graphics card is a 11 gigabyte card. It's got 11 gigabytes on it. However, you can only batch size half of the GPU RAM. So if you got GPU has only got like 200 or 300 megabytes, you could probably do this. But you have computers can probably sit there for a day or two processing everything. So For me, I know if I go past, it depends on the size of files. I've went up to 8, but it takes an extremely long time. I usually sit this down half of my memory. So I've got 11. I usually set it down to 6. You don't have to save it. So all these can be checked. No. Once you got all this done, you'll go down here, one-click training. It'll process the folders, and then it'll showcase on the screen. And once it starts training, it'll give you epoch numbers. So epoch session 1, it'll say when it was done on the computer system time and how long it took. And then epoch 2, and then I'll kind of give you an estimate how long it's going to take. Big files can take up to about 2 minutes per training session. Smaller files like EFINs took up to about 10 to 12 seconds per training session. So it really depends on how much data you give it. And you just let it continue to go through until it gets through all the epochs, and then it'll tell you it's done. And after that, you're done. You got a trained voice after that. But what are you going to do with it is the next part. So, the next part is we're going to go through, and we found a song that we're going to do. Now, what I'm going to do, and it's because I got requested on this, and I'm going to call Josh Coyle on this. It's like, I wanted to make a Ricada version so I could call it Baldur's Gate. We must look to Sparky's Tech Corner in hopes he will create it. No AI scenes by the river, the main theme for Baldur's Gate 3. Produced by Mr. B and posted to the Josh Core thread. So I've been called out because I've got a working voice of Nick Ricada. So I'm going to showcase on how this processes I go through and do this. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to be able to do this. I got some with software, RVC and stuff like. I know there's other programs out there. I haven't used them. And for Mr. B, I actually want to ask him if he watches this and listens to this, or if someone wants to post on the Josh Core thread and go, "Hey, Mr. B, Sparky's got a question." It's like, what program did he use for this? Because I know there's 3 or 4 or 5 different programs for AI that people can use for this. So I'm actually real curious, what did he use to make this? So we're gonna go ahead and listen to this. I'm gonna mute myself. I need a break. I need to catch my breath a little bit. I've been sitting here talking for about 30 minutes straight. So I'm gonna sit here and give my voice a break. We're gonna listen to this, and then we're gonna go through and try to train this up with Nick's voice.
Lace your heart with wine, let your sleeping soul take flight, take me through the night, down, down, down by the river, down, down, down by the river, hanging moon fall. This will leave where you belong. Sweep me off my feet. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Oh, down, down, down by the river. In the embers are whirling down, there's arms as if the flames that take a chance to play with me tonight. Take my heart and hold it tight, 'cause you and I are every way, and mine is your recalling. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Oh, down, down, down by the river. Don't wake me off, just leave me there, dreaming.
Okay, and that is the null version of Down by the River. Okay, I don't even know why you're trying to play that, but okay. But Rogue says that that is the wrong version. One, they've been curbed they curbed the echo effect. They need a radio sound. See, and I do the bass sound effects. Rogue's giving me some links to some programs to use. I don't use them. I just use the base Wondershare one. It does good with echo. I think it does good for what it is. But there's other programs you can use. If you have access to that, you can experiment, do whatever you need, whatever you want. But I do have some issues with this. And I have a feeling, because I have a feeling that Mr. B used a different program. They need a raw version. Yes, they probably do need a raw version. So I don't know what he used. I don't know if he actually had an isolated track and put behind it. I don't know if he used a different program, but I have a feeling that RVC is going to have issues with this. Now, I'm going to try 2 different ways of doing this. I'm going to use voice remover and isolation at here, vocalremover.org. I'm going to attempt this one first, but I have a feeling that the high pitches of the song, and I'll show you. Wow, okay. I'm going to show you the places where I feel like that the program's going to mess up at. Right here.
Down by the river, pinky amber, swirling down.
Those high pitches of this song, I really feel like it's going to mess up in RVC. And even if it doesn't mess up, I have a feeling that the AI is going to have a hard time covering over it. We're going to see. RVC surprised me at times. We're going to give it a shot. But my assessment so far of listening to the original, I'm going to have some issues with this, with RVC. Now, like I said, there's some programs that do a lot better. I don't use the other programs. I use this. So, I've already got everything recorded. I've already got the MP3 file. I recorded it with Audacity. So, first things first, we're going to have RVC. If we were to separate this out in RVC, we're going to go to this file here, voice accompaniments, separations, reverb, removal. Thank you, Rogue. I'm going to attempt this with the version I've got right now. I don't want to slow down the pacing of the stream. If I run into issues with this version, I will look into that. But right now, I want to give it a shot with this. So I'm going to go into my vocal remover, go to remove. You don't want to go splitter. You want to go to remover. Splitter will actually remove the music, vocal, bass, and drums. It also removes out a lot of key portions of the song. I figured this out with a song that Arcade wanted me to do for him. So you just want to go down and have it remove just the vocals and the music. So simple remover. So let's go here. And like I said, I've got a song folder and I've got a bunch of songs I've ripped and been experimenting with. Some of these are out on MisterMetokur channel. Some of these are out on my channel. Some of them aren't even done yet because I ran into issues. The same issues I've showcased to you guys of why you can't do every song. I'll get an idea like Phantom of the Opera. I want to do a Pippa cover of Phantom of the Opera. Pippa cannot get the high notes. I am working on it. Pippa cannot get the high notes. Same thing with Camilla dancing. I got it pretty much done. It just sounds a little off. I'm still trying to walk and tinker around with it to make it sound better. So there's that. Hey, looks like a good stream so far. Something came up, but we'll catch the replay. All right, thank you, Matty Archive. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for showing this out too. If you want, if I'm pretty sure everyone here is already from the forum, so you already know where to go. But if you're not, you're stopping in and you don't watch the forums or you don't watch Mad Internet and you want to know a place you can go catch it, Matty Archive here, if you click on his link, will take you down to archives of the streams that he does on Rumble, Odyssey, and other places like that, since YouTube hates null for some reason. Anyways, thank you for stopping by, Matty. I really do appreciate it. So I need my file folder. Let's go right here down by the river. So got my file, easy enough. Take it, drag it, drop it. That's how easy this is. And Maddie, too, if you come back and rewatch this, if you want to clip this out, or if you want to archive this one too, whatever you want to, if you want to put it on the Josh Core or whatever, for people who's wanting to, learn RVC or learn to do these AI voices, go ahead and feel free to archive it, pull it, whatever you want. Or clip it. It's okay by me. All right. So it's already done separating it. Let's go ahead and listen to it. And how I usually judge this is I'll go through in parts of the song. It'll automatically turn the volume up on the music, turn the volume down on the vocals. So I just usually go to where the voice starts and I want to see how much of the voice is left in the actual music. So let's go ahead and take a listen. It actually sounds like you got every bit of the voice out of the music. That's a good thing, because a lot of times the high notes with this, it will bleed the high notes of C notes into the music because it can't distinguish them from like instruments. This program's done a really good job of doing that. So let's go ahead and go back in and listen with the music down and the vocals up to see what we got.
Start with mine. Let your sleeping soul take flight.
Now, listen to that. If you listen, you can hear the echo. You can hear the reverb behind that voice. You can hear it. You have to remove that before you put the AI on it. Otherwise, it will make it sound horrid. Now, like I said, they've done really good jobs with making this program being able to get past that. But the more you're able to help it, the better it sounds. So we're gonna do 2 coverings of it, and I'm gonna showcase to you what it sounds like before removing the echo and the reverb, and after removing the echo and the reverb. I'm gonna showcase to you what it sounds like. But so far, it's doing a good job. So again, we're gonna go through and we're gonna listen to see how it sounds and see what all we need to do to address any issues that come up.
We through the unknown by the river, mooning folk, where you belong, sweet by the river, by the river, by the river.
All right, so far this is sounding good. So once we have everything that we need, we're going to bring our folder up and we're going to save vocal and music. So once we get that, we can just go up here, drop it down, and get the music that we want. It's not gonna allow me to keep the folder up, so I've got to do this off screen. So down by the river music, down by the river vocals. Now, this is where naming of the files is going to be very, very important. And here's where the two distinctions come. Remember what I said when I got into the training section? There's some files that's going to require the actual file folder name, and there's some sections of it that's going to require the actual file name. Now, if you're using Windows 10, the file name is easy enough. You can just right click on the actual music file or whatever file you're taking and copy that address. Windows 10 does not have that ability. There is a workaround for it, though. There is a workaround for it. So let me I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up just so I got it. Okay, so we're gonna go through and we're gonna try to put AI voice on that music. But before we do, we gotta do some things. So first thing I like to do is I like to make me another file, and I just name it voice. Now, before you go any further on this, you need to make sure of this. Whenever you click on this right here, the actual full address for the file, you can have no files within this folder with spaces. And it's easy enough. I'll show you what it looks like with spaces. If you have, let's see, voice file, it's easy enough to see in the file folder directory. If you go into here with a space, it'll have a space in it when you see it here. But whenever you go through and you copy it and you put it in, it will give you like a space 20%. It's not doing it on this one. Yep, it's not doing it on this. It will do it once I actually hit the button and do it. But anyways, you want no spaces in any of these files. If you have a space or any kind of weird characters, it will error out on you. I will showcase this to you. So for putting the AI voice on the actual voice file you took, and I'll show you how this does. So I take out any additional, like, symbols, semicolons, anything like that, anything that may not be needed. But I'm going to give you an example of what this thing does. So let me go here and put this up. The easiest way to get the actual, because for this you need the actual file. So for like separating the vocals out, separating reverb, anything like that, you'll go up here and click the actual file folder. That's easy enough. But when you're actually putting AI on the voice, you need the actual file. To get the actual file, the easiest way to do it, take you up here, put it in this. And actually right there is what I was looking for. See that percentage 20? Percentage 20 in the file folder name is actually a space. That is coding for the computer to tell, hey, this is a space. Percentage 20 is a space. So you'll want to go from the C drive or whatever drive it's in the whole address. You'll go copy it, and let's see, we're gonna put model on it. So we're going to put Nick Recator on it. And this is before we clean the reverb out. This is before we clean any of the echo out. We just ripped this on. This is a demonstration of like improper file name, not getting all the echo and reverb out, how it sounds. So Recator is right here. So I'm going to pick my path, Nick Recator, my folder, and you want both of these as the folder name. And then the log, Nick Recator, IMVP, and every one of my voices, these are the settings I go to. The first 3, max all the way, the last 2, all the way down. Do it with every song. Do it with every voice, everything that I do. I've not changed these settings since I've started doing this. You can mess around with it. This is from everything that I messed with in the hundreds of hours I've messed with this program. This is the best setting so far for me. So remember, we left a space in this, that percentage 20 in that file folder name, in the actual file name. If I go through to go and convert this, it gives me an error. Now, if your file folder, anywhere within this, like I said, has a space in it, even like your user, if your name, if you have your first and last name as your username and there's a space between it, you can't use that file format. You got to find a different drive, rename your computer, anything like that. Any file in this whole, from C drive to user to desktop, AI voice, anything in this file name, if it's got space, it will error out on you. So you got to make sure the file location you set this from, there's no spaces in this, or otherwise it will error out on you. Remember that. That is very important. And it's the same thing when you go through and you do separations. If it's got a space anywhere in that name, it's going to error out on you. So the easiest way to fix that is to go into here, rename the file, take my space out. Now, once I take my space out, I just go up here and do the same thing again. Take my file, drag it up here into the search tab, rename the file, go from my C drive all the way up, copy, go back to here, paste that in, and if I did everything right, it should go through in process. It's not errored out, and it's processing. This is the number one thing people mess up. And this is the number one thing that people will drive themselves up the wall trying to figure out, why does it keep erroring out? I cannot get RVC to work. RVC does not work. It just keeps giving me an error message. It's probably because somewhere within that file folder name, there is a space, and it will mess with this program. As an issue I have contacted GitHub about, or the repository downloader of this, they said it's just how it's coded, it's how it's what. Make sure you get spaces out. I try to get them to go through and add that functionality, but they say it messes with the programming. So you got to make sure that there's no spaces in it. So it's done. It's completed it. So we should have a version of this with Nick Recator's voice. Let's go ahead and listen to this, see what it sounds like. Remember, this is without any reverb or echo removal of the bass vocals yet. So let's see how this sounds.
Sleeping soul, take flight, take me through the night, down, down, down by the river.
And I can already tell you right now, I can tell you exactly what I messed up at, because this is a female singer, and we are putting a male voice on it. We got to go up here to our octave transpose setting. It's always at 0, but if you got a female singer and you got to put a male AI voice on it, you need to put it at -12. You need to drop that octave down. if you're doing vice versa, if you got a male singer and you're putting an AI female voice on it, you need to do the opposite. You need to go up to 12. The thing can go ranges between -12 and 12. Here's the problem. If you go anywhere in between -12, 0, and 12, it's off pitch. It's off cue. It does not sound right. It'll sound flat or it'll sound sharp. If you go back, you can listen to some of my first AI covers, they suffer from this because I went somewhere in the middle of it, either 8 or 6 or 5. Sometimes you can get lucky and shoot down the middle and it sounds good. But what I found out so far with this, you either go -12, 0, or 12. You don't do anywhere in between because then you end up with off pitching. So, since Nick is a male and the singer is a female, we're going to go -12 and we're going to redo this. And we're going to see how this sounds. And I just remembered I don't have Filmora up. So I need to bring that up. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to assemble the song real quick. And we're going to see how it sounds. And then afterwards, we're going to do some cleanup work on it, see if we can get this to sound any better. So let's listen and see how this sounds now. Let me move this over so I can see the chat. All right. So let's see how this sounds.
Lace your heart with wine, let your sleeping soul take flight. Take me through the night, down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Hanging moody.
Now, if you can listen to his voice waver there and stuff like that, that is the echo affecting the AI for the voice. So any echo, any left sound, anything like that that's put into it will greatly affect how the AI lays over it. So yeah, you could put it on and behind the music, you may not hear it. I don't like doing that because I like to clean up a little bit. So, all right. So let's see. Now that sounds more like the Baldo we know. Right? Right. Okay. So let's do some cleanup work on this voice. So in order to do cleanup work, we need to go to voice accompaniments and stuff like that. Now, remember I made its own little folder for the voice. Right here's the music, right here's the whole song. Right here's the voice. Here's the reason why I make its own little folder. Because this section of the RVC requires the folder name. So instead of having to go up here and then put the address and copy it of the actual file location, this one just takes the actual folder location. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a de-echo, echo de-reverb is what we're going to do on this. And we're going to put in our addresses here. And it will save automatically. You don't have to download it like on this. Say if I wanted this, I got to go here, hit download, and then pick it from my download folders, put it into the file, and then I can use it. This portion of it automatically saves it to a location you say. So I usually just pick the same folder I get the address from. Now, here's the thing. If you've got 20 files in this folder, it will do this to every one of those files. So this is the reason why I pick its own little folder to put into, because I only want to separate these two files out. So what's going to do when I hit process, it's going to give me two files. It's going to give me an instrumental and it's going to give me a vocal. Now, it's a little reverse on this because if you do main voice or main vocal, HV2, HV3, HV5, I believe, if you hit that one, the Voice file will be the actual file. The instrumental will be the music. But anything down past this to de-reverb, de-echo aggressive, de-echo, de-reverb, de-echo normal, it's swapped. So your echo it takes out is going to be in the vocals. The actual voice is going to be in the instrumentals. I don't know why the program does this, but just be aware of that when you go through this. So again, we're going to do de-echo, de-reverb. We're going to pick WAV files. No, you can use any four of these formats, WAV, FLAC, MP3, M4A. You can use any one of these. It likes WAV files the best. So if you have the ability to save it as a WAV file, save it as a WAV file. You can do MP3. You can do any of these other ones. The system seems to work a lot better with WAV. So with that, we're going to go ahead and hit convert. And remember, again, any if you have any spaces within the file folder down to the file name, it will error out on you, just like it did on the model inferences. Same thing on training. When you go for it, like I said, no spaces in any of the file names at all. It hates it. Remove them. If you're having constant errors trying to train a voice or overlay AI, check for spaces in the name. Remove them. And also remember, like I said, voice accompaniments, folder only. Model inferences, the actual file link. You can put the file folder in this, but it'll continue popping arrows up. Same thing with this. You can put the actual file link in it, but it'll pop up arrows. File link in this one, folder link in this one, actual file in this one. So it's done. And let's see how I separated it out. So remember, this is reversed. Our vocals right here should be the echo. You can hear in the back, you can hear that echo, and that's what's pulling out. So, and again, you can use this for like, I use the de-echoing, the de-reverb for my voice samples. It gets rid of any of that background noise and leaves you with this.
Let your sleeping soul take flight, take me through the night, down, down, down by the river.
Sounds real good, doesn't it? So now we're going to use this file. So this is the part I always struggled with. Never took out the echoes. Yes, you will be surprised on how much of a difference that makes. Now, remember and listen. Going through and doing this does have some negative side effects. It will take parts of the actual voice out. So if you listen, you'll listen. There's some places where that voice flutters and kind of cuts out a little bit. That is the problem with using the de-echo. Now, I use de-echo, reverb, aggressive. We've got other ones here. We got de-echo normal, de-echo aggressive, de-echo, de-reverb. I did de-echo, de-reverb. If it seems like it took too much out, we'll go through and do de-echo and normal. This is one of the things that always, yes, Rogue is right in chat. It will make and break a song. A lot of songs use echoes and reverbs. Yes. The program's good enough now. It can get past a little bit of it, but if it's like really hard in there, you can hear it. You can hear the AI stumble with it. So if you want an AI cover that sounds real good, that doesn't have that weird artifacting with the voice, remove the echo from the vocals of you just removed. That will do a lot of it. Also, like I said, whenever you're training a voice, use this also. Get that background noise out. It will make the voice sound a lot better when you train it. So We're going to do the same thing we did beforehand. We don't need to move the file out of this. We just need this file. So again, we want to use this one. Remember, the echo, the reverb, instrumental is our main voice file. Put this up in here. We'll take this and we'll go back to our model inference and we'll just go replace this link. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to download this file and we're gonna do a test of how it sounds. So let me rename this, because the file names it gives you is real. It just spits out letters and numbers. It just spits out random things to save it. It's weird how it does it. So you don't have to rename it, but if you want to keep track of what you're doing, you're gonna have to. So we're gonna put River Nick Riff Echo, just so we can showcase how it sounds. So we will let you do nothing now. Do it right. Okay, whatever. Anyways. Down by the river, instrumental vocals. Okay. -12. Got our voice, got our pathing on MVPE. Our settings, again, we're not going to change anything. We're going to go through here. Let's go ahead and see how this sounds now. And sometimes it'll go fast. Sometimes it'll go real slow. If it goes real slow, it means the AI is struggling with something. So if you have a song and it's been sitting here processing up for like 900 seconds, 1200 seconds, there's something wrong with the song, or it's struggling with something. So just don't slap it together and ship it out and think it sounds good. Listen to it. And that's another thing a lot of these AI cover artists do. They throw it in, they don't pre-listen to it, they throw it together and they throw it out, and it sounds like hot garbage. Don't be like that. So, see how this sounds.
Fine. Let your sleeping soul take flight. Take me through the night. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Hanging moon in fog.
Oh God, be nice. Be nice as I play for AI garbage. No, hey, he does good work. Hey, he made the Come Zone song. I'm still trying to figure out how the fuck he made that one. Okay, I am still trying to figure out how the fuck he did that one. So be nice, AI garbage. He knows some skills. He has some skills. He has some tricks that I don't know. So hey, be nice. All right, so let's go ahead and download this. And let's go ahead and put this in. And what we're going to do is we're going to name this one River Nick No Echo. So now that we got sounds done, we're done with RVC. We don't need RVC for anything else. Now we're on to the process of assembling the song. Now, if it doesn't sound right, we'll be going back to RVC. But assuming everything's right, this is where we're going to be going. So, I want my music file. I want these two files. And what we're going to do is The first one we're going to do, and we're going to listen to them from start to finish. You want to get banned in my chat, don't you, Jim Max? For the umpteenth time. Okay, so we got a music file, and we're going to do the one with echo first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute myself. We're going to let this play through. Once this is done, we're going to swap out the with echo with no echo and see how it sounds. So that way you guys can get a gauge of how important and what the differences are and how it sounds. So, me, myself, and playing now.
Lace your heart with wine. Let your sleeping soul take flight. Take me through the night. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Hanging moon fall. This will lead where you belong. Sweep me off my feet. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Oh, down, down, down by the river. The embers are whirling down. Just have to fight to take a chance to feel it burn tonight. Take my hand and hold it tight, 'cause you and I are everywhere. The night is young, we're going down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Oh, down, down, down by the river. Don't wake me up, just leave me there. Dreaming.
Trishy with $5 CA. You are the very first person to send me a super chat on my channel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But thanks for your time. I'll be watching this again later for sure. Yes, I hope this will help you out. And again, for anyone who's watched this and you go through and you try to do this, if you have an issue, send me a comment on this stream down below, and I'll try to answer it. And I'll try to help out the best I can. Don't expect much. These are usually I basically showcased everything that I usually have issues with. So these are the things that usually pain people up. Anything else might be out of my realm, but I'll try to help out. Remember to turn this down, folks, if you're wearing earphones. Yep. I don't know how it sounds. I've got an audio mixer on my side, so I mean, sorry. So, Sparky, do you prefer peanut butter? Fuck you. All right. So, that is with echo. Now, let's listen to this without echo. This is the version of the song that we removed the echo out of before we laid the AI voice onto it. So, I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up to right here. We don't need to go through the whole intro again. I'm going to mute again. We're going to play again. Headphone users, beware. I guess I should have gave that warning beforehand. Sorry, my fault. See how this sounds.
Lace your heart with mine. Let your sleeping soul take flight. Take me through the night. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. And you moaning fall. This will lead where you belong. Sweep me off my feet. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Oh, down, down, down by the river. Inky embers are rolling down. As if the flames that take a chance to be lit tonight. Take my hand and hold it tight. 'Cause you and I are everywhere. The night is young. We're going down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Oh, down, down, down by the river. Don't wake me up, just leave me there, dreamy.
As you can tell, there is a noticeable improvement. It is very important for every step of the process that you try to make it as concise and perfect as possible, and you help it out every step of the way. Yes, you could have got away with just using the version left in, but yes, you can do that. But you can hear those imperfections. And even this is not perfect. There's some spots in this where it's a little off. So usually with those, I'm not gonna showcase now. This is on your editing preferences afterwards, and this is all up to the person. So for me, what I probably go through and do is I probably listen to this several times, as Rogue can attest in chat, to the point of driving people mad. How many times I'll listen to a song once it's done, going through and clipping out little imperfections here and there and adding in effects to make it sound better. That is all into the editing then. I'm just showing you guys how to make the actual voice itself and lay onto the actual cover. Like I said, whenever it came down to like the whole new world, I had a lot of editing time because I had a female only karaoke, I had a male only karaoke, I had interspliced versions of the movie ending track, I had interspliced versions of the actual in-movie version of what actually on the carpet flying around. I've had versions of the real life movie version of A Whole New World. I had 5 different vocals working with on the AI to make that sound the way it does, because you cannot just, like with A Whole New World, you just cannot put that into the deal, split it, and go, okay, I want Jasmine as Pippa and Jim as Aladdin, or with Rogue's idea, Pippa as Aladdin and Jim as Jasmine. Yes, we do have a gender swap version out there that came out back to back with the actual version. So give that a listen if you want to listen to how it sounds. But you cannot just put it in there and go, okay, I want these voices like this. It's not. A lot of people say, oh, it's AI, it's cheating, it's easy, you just had a computer do it. No, there's a lot of editing to it. I just cannot go and pick up the mouse and go, computer, I need these voices on these sceners make the song for me. Thank you. You cannot do that. It's not like that. There's a lot of background editing that happens with this to make it sound good. So with this, I'm not gonna go through and clip out the parts that's messed up. I think I'm gonna leave them in. I think it gives it a little bit of character. I am gonna add an echo, however. So we're gonna go here. I got my sound effects. Let's see. Go effects, audio effects. We're gonna put echo on it. So I did not want to do that. So I've not used this new version of Filmora yet, so give me a minute. I've gotta figure out where I need to go again. So you're sitting here watching me in real time, figure out what to do. Oh, they moved it over here. Why did they move it over here for? Okay, so for me, the echo, how I usually set up, the delay time I usually set up to about 15. And then the decay factor I usually set to 20. So these are just basic audio effects that you can do in Filmora. Let's see how the audio effect sounds when I put this kind of echo on it. And again, these are things that you do post edit before you get the final version out to make it sound better. Because now this just sounds like a voice laid on to the song. It doesn't have that echo and that reverb like the original had. So let's see what we can come up with. I'm gonna mute myself again, and I'm just gonna play for a little bit to see how it sounds.
Lace your heart with mine. Let your sleeping soul take flight. Take me through the night. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. And you moody fall. This will lead where you belong. Sweep me off my feet. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Oh, down, down, down by the river. Inky embers are rolling down. Just have the fight to take a chance to feel it clear tonight. Take my hand and hold it tight, 'cause you and I are every way. The night is young.
I actually think that sounds really good. And yes, that soften the echo a bit more does make it sound a little bit better. I can deepen the echo to give it a real like cascading effect, or soften it up to give it that slight one. I think the slight one makes it sound better, especially when it gets into the high notes of it. Somehow using Nick's voice in song about M and R down by the river. The walks. Yes, it does. And yes, I can do both. I can actually interlay. I can split this up and make certain parts of it more echoey, or other parts less echoey. Again, that comes down to your editing preferences. this, like I said, this video is mostly about just showcasing how I get to this point. Once you're to this point, it's all on you. It's all on you. I can show you how to do stuff, which is I basically am. I just do basic, simple things. I don't go off the wall unless it's a song I want to go off the wall with. Example of a song I went off the wall with is The Girls of Rock and Roll. The Pippa cover I did of Girls and Rock and Roll. Go listen to that one. It's got a bunch of different echo sound effects in it, a bunch of reverb. It actually sounds really good. That's one I went off the wall with. And that's also one I had some issues with the song because that has a that song's split up into two parts. You got the first part and the second part, which is sung by two different female singers. If you listen close enough, you can hear that pitch difference with the two singers. You can tell with Pippa's voice when it changes over. Just walks, he said it does just walk, but you can tell when it changes over. But the third part of that song, there's like 3 or 4 or 5 girls singing, and the AI just did not want anything to do with it. Luckily, there's what I like to call repeating vocals. So there is a trick that you can do. If you have a song that's like that, and it's just 3 phases of repeating vocals, and the vocals are the same, you can clip out splices from beginning portions or middle portions of that song, recycle them, and reuse them in the bits that the AI messes up on. Again, that's more in the post-edit part of things. That's just something that you'll have to figure out for yourself what you do. But usually if you see some of my covers and you go, how do you get that one part? It's usually because it's either spliced in from another song or it's spliced in from a different part within that song. So again, it's post-edit. But I think that does it for tonight. Basically, start to finish. I showed you how to train the voice, how to set up to train the voice. Again, that's going to vary differently on your equipment, what kind of hardware you have, and some of the settings you see me set up on mine, you won't be able to use for training because, like I said, it's very GPU intensive. And if you do not have the hardware, there is a version of it called Collab, which will use off-site hardware. I've not used that. I don't know how it works. Jared Journeys does a tutorial video on his channel. You go through and find it. Like I said, I've linked it beforehand. Again, I'll put the link in the comments. Jared Journeys, he does really good tutorials. I'm not much. I'd like to showcase some of the stuff I do, but I'm not. I can't just go through and make a. I'm just kind of learn by doing. I'm doing my best I can to showcase to you guys how to do it, but yeah, it is what it is. Fresh says, good stream. Gotta check out your other vids later. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Helping the channel out. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, and if you're gonna use Collab for training or anything like that, go check out Jared Journeys. He has a tutorial on that one. But besides from that, the programs I got listed down below is basically everything I use. It's just knowing what songs you can use, how you separate out the vocals, how you clean the vocals, how you train it, and how you assemble it, and how you edit it afterwards. All these things are really key things. Remember, it's like building a house. If the foundation's shit before you start off with it, like if you get a shit song, you just cannot do a cover on it. The AI just does not like it. You're gonna have a shit song. Doesn't matter how many bells and whistles you put on it. Doesn't matter how long you work on it. It's still gonna be a shit song. There's gonna be some songs you cannot do. You just gotta really get yourself to the fact that you can't do it unless you find someone to sing it, or you sing it yourself. That's about all you can do. But I hope everyone who's watched this found this very informative. Like I said, the other ones I've done is kind of, they're like 4 or 5 hours. They go on forever. I ramble at times. I tried to do this as concise as possible. Again, this is for Maddie. If you come back, you see this part, like I said, you have my full permission. If you want to split this down into segments and put it up wherever, Matt and Josh Core, or if you just want to compile like a playlist or a timestamp for people in Kiwi Farms or whatever, I'll try to work on that later on if I get around to doing it. That's one thing I'm real bad at doing. But if anyone wants to do that or put timestamps down in the comments of, you know, this part, before I do, go right ahead, clip it out, post it up anywhere, show back to the channel. It's whatever. But for that, thank you for everyone who joined in. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodnight. And Freesh, thank you. First super chat I've ever got on this channel. Appreciate it, bub. I really do appreciate it. Peace.
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Hey kids! It's time to have fun! Ready, set, go!
What the fuck did that say? This is so good. By the way, God bless whoever edited this video. That was the perfect ending to it. I'll be honest with you.